Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the Gifty O Conversations once again. As I always say, thank you for your support, your likes, your comments. It means a lot to us. We really appreciate that. And today is a wonderful episode. Even before we start, I'm going to tell you that I really love hardworking people, especially hardworking women. And we have one of those hardworking women with us today. Today, I'll be speaking with Dr. Godfrida Kwachua Ado. I call her Dr. Kiki. Hi, Kiki.
Hi. Mrs. Hi. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so happy. Happy. Thank you.
You are definitely welcome. And I'm glad you made the time for us. You are a medical doctor. In fact, you graduated from medical school last year, right?
Yes, I did.
In Russia?
I graduated, yeah. June last year.
Wow. How was it like? I mean, studying for medicine. How was it like?
It's everything they tell us and more. It's crazy hectic. And but yeah, if you are determined to get it through, you get it done. Because we were a lot when we started, but we graduated just a few. So you should know a lot of people gave up on the way.
Yeah.
But with determination and your willpower, you get to do it. And God, most especially, God has to see you through. Yeah. So yeah, we did it. It wasn't easy. Here we are.
Wow. Congratulations.
Making our thank you.
Yeah, it's very important to make mommy and daddy proud, you know.
I know.
But
that's the least we could do for them.
Yeah. Whilst you were doing that course, you were still running a photography business and then a wig business. You moved from Ghana to there to study medicine, and then you added wig business and photography. How did you decide to combine those three?
Actually, I would say there was a need. There was, normally there should be a need for something before to inspire you to start certain things. So I would say it was the need for money, because as a student in Russia, now things have changed, but during our time, we were not allowed to work. So you would have to find something to do for yourself to make the extra money, because the money from home, if you convert it to Russian rubles, they can't do anything for you. So you have to make extra income for yourself. So I started teaching English. I used to go somewhere like at least 1 hour away from my university. I'll close school around 7, take a bus to the place, come back right like 11. I have to prepare for class the next day. And the pay was very small, so it was very stressful for me. But then one thing I realized was anytime I wear a wig, anytime I wear a nice wig or something, I get a lot of people asking me, hey, where did you buy it? Where did you buy it? Where did you buy it? So it gave me the idea. I was like, this means if I should start selling wigs, people will purchase, because people normally like what I wear. And I knew my source, So I started little by little ordering hair from the people. And at the beginning, of course, it won't be that easy. It won't be smooth. I got a few purchases and it encouraged me. I ordered hair from the US. It never got to me. It was a lot of struggle at the beginning. Then I finally got some vendors I can work with. And that's how that business grew. And then when it came to the photography, it was something I actually just wanted to learn how to do. I always loved photography. So I had this friend who shared a mutual interest. So we both got a camera together and we started exploring that interest, learning on YouTube how to edit photos with Photoshop and those apps. And then I just started taking free photos. Normally with these things, you just start free, just to gather your crowd, your audience. Yeah. So I started gathering the girls in my city, maybe we do a makeup, then we go and do a photo shoot, then I'll post on my page. And then people started saying, hey, do you have these kind of ladies in your city? Hey, you do photo shoots, I would like to join. And I'll be like, oh yeah, it's at this cost. That's how I started the whole photography thing. And that's how I started making money from it. But of course, I have school during the weekdays. So with the photography, I was only doing it during weekends. So maybe if someone contacts me, I'll be like, okay, I'm available only during the weekend. And most of my clients were students, student university or other universities, the African students mostly, because we didn't have an African photographer in my city at the time. So that's with a little background story about how those two started. Yeah.
Wow. How did that affect your studies? Because even though the shoot is on weekends and all, but then you'd be getting calls during weekdays and you have to prepare and all that. And of course, as a medical student, the weekend would be free time for you to study. So how did that affect you?
Oh, it did. It did a bit, especially at the beginning. At a point, I realized I was giving more focus to those other stuff instead of my studies. My studies started failing at a point. So I had to just beat myself back and say, you know why you are here. So I reduced it a bit, but then I didn't stop completely. So even with the photography, I think I started taking photography bookings for only graduation periods and those things. Or maybe when I joined my school media team. So with that one, maybe when there's a school program, I was in the press team. When there's a program, they call all the photographers in the team. Then we go, and with those ones, you get extra credit at school. Like, because you're in the school team, you'll be getting favors from teachers and those things. You are recognized in a certain way, and that worked in my advantage. So I think with the photography, the step I took was joining the school media team, because I knew it came with advantages. Even though I still made time to study, but when it came to my grades, I didn't really stress with it, because teachers knew me from seeing me at school functions. They are like, oh, she's a student, but she's also helping the school and those things. So yeah, those things helped me a lot. And with the hair, the thing with the hair was, at a point, I wasn't really getting in flow of wigs as I wanted. So there was a little pause at a point. There was a point where I wasn't really doing it so much. Getting stuff into Russia is a bit hard. Even with the sanctions, now it's worse.
Yeah.
So it was at the point I had to hold on a bit. But all the same, I'm just someone that's good at multitasking. So I try to schedule my time in a way that I have time for everything. Yeah.
You mentioned sanctions in Russia. Let's go down that line for a while. You lived in Russia when the COVID happened, and also at the beginning when
Yeah.
we were hearing of rumors of Russia-Ukraine war, and then there were some sanctions and all that. How was it like living in Russia at that time?
With the COVID, I ended up in the COVID hospital, actually.
Wow.
I got the COVID, and this was as we were indoors throughout, but I ended up getting COVID. No, I lived in an apartment with my friends. None of them had it. I was the only one who had it, surprisingly. So yeah, with the COVID, I ended up at the COVID hospital, but it wasn't a bad experience at the hospital. They had a special hospital for COVID patients, and it was a beautiful hospital. It was just the food I didn't enjoy, but my experience at the COVID hospital wasn't terrible. I just was in a hurry to leave because I felt like a prisoner. We weren't allowed to go out. No one was allowed to come in. Our doctors and nurses were dressed up like aliens and all that. So it was a place you just want to hurry up and go back home. And with the war, honestly, the whole war thing, I would say it affected my friends in Ukraine the most. We in Russia didn't really go through anything, They had to go through the fleeing thing. They had to run for their lives and everything. But nothing of that sort happened in Russia. We used to get calls from home. I know the news. I know African news. They'll be reporting very scary things. So during those times, our parents were calling, "Are you coming home?" Even the Ghanaian community in Russia, they set up a page, and then they told all of us to give our numbers, our names, our cities, just in case there has to be an evacuation. They know that, okay, we have this number of students in the city, we have this number of students in the... All of that, it was all... We did all that, but we ended up completing school. Nothing happened till now. Everything is fine. It's just one or two stories you hear, but fortunately for those of us in Russia, we didn't have to go through what our friends in Ukraine went through. Yeah, so that was... But the only thing we suffered is the sanctions, because all our favorite stores closed.
Wow.
Zara, H&M. We couldn't use our Visa cards anymore till now. The stores are closed. We can't use our Visa cards. Like, those sanctions affected our day-to-day lives. Stores were getting empty because goods were not coming into Russia again. Yeah. So you'd have to... And they increased the price. Because goods were not coming in, the store owners increased prices, doubled and tripled them. And people were trooping in to buy things. At that time, things were crazy. Like, you enter a store and there's nothing in there for you to buy. And even if you find it, the price will make you go crazy. So that is our punishment. But we had to go through for the period. But we didn't go through any like shootings. We didn't hear of any shootings in our neighborhood and those kind of things. No, we didn't experience any of that. We had school. Everything was okay. We didn't even do our classes online. We still went offline. We were going to the hospital for classes and everything. Yeah.
Oh, wow. You said that the shops were empty. Did it affect your food?
Of course. There was nothing to buy again. But then you'd have to travel to... We had bigger malls. We had bigger malls that still had products. But you know, those accessible stores close to you, you just go out and you find a store outside. Those ones, we couldn't rely on them anymore. So if you want to buy something, take a bus to a far away mall to go and maybe pack some goods, you know, can last you for a week or something. You get. So the accessibility of things decreased. We couldn't go to our stores around us to buy stuff. We had to travel to go and buy stuff.
Wow. Wow. Now I'm thinking of all this hustle and I'm asking myself, why didn't you just do medicine in Ghana? Why go to...
This story. And this question, why didn't I just do medicine in Ghana? I would actually blame it on my high school. So the high school I went to was a private school. It was a new school, and we were the pioneers. We were the first batch of students. So let me say, I was the only science student even for that school. I was the only science student among the first batch of students. So you can imagine, I was getting special teachings and all. I was having one-on-one classes with all my teachers. It wasn't fun because any question is thrown at you and all, but yeah. And then I took NOVDEC a year before my WASI year, and I did well in my NOVDEC. But I won't say those results were good enough to send me to medical school. So I knew with WASI I would have to do better. Now it was like a few months to WASI, and then our school comes to tell us, unfortunately, we couldn't get accreditation to write WASI, so we cannot register you guys for WASI this year.
Wow.
So you guys will have to take NOVDEC next year. And we said no. We were so angry. Like, why have they kept us in the dark all this while? Why tell us this at the end? Our friends are writing WASI and you're telling us to wait and write NOVDEC later next year. What? So we had to think of something fast. Then some of our teachers in the school were like, we can help you find schools that will register people taking exams. Apparently some schools will do that. You just pay, then you buy their uniform, then they will add you to their students. And at that time, there was this school, I don't want to mention the name, but there was this school that was like, the name was known on TV. They were always doing adverts of the school. Even their motto was weird and all. But apparently they were the only school at the time taking students. And the interesting thing is they were also now going to write WASI for the first time. So this was their first batch, but they had managed to get their own accreditation. So my friends and I had to join the school. The thing with the school was that they were so bent on making their students pass the first time because they wanted people to know we are a new school, but we are good. We had a good pass rate and everything. And
Mhm.
I think WAEC also sensed something. So they had their eyes on the school.
Wow.
I remember we going to write the exam, and in the exam hall, WAEC officials came around and they were holding a machine. I don't know, but apparently the machine detects foreign materials on you, no matter where it is, whether it's in your underwear, in your dress, or anything. So they caught more than 30 students with the exam papers already answered in their stuff. So this really affected us. That don't even go to the school, it affected us. Everyone's results were out. People had been given their placements, and we were here still waiting for our results because they said our results had been withheld. But then, luckily for me, when I was doing my university applications, I put in my NOVDEC results. And then the plan was when the WASI results come out, I'll add it. Maybe it will give me a good push to go to medical school. But the NOVDEC results were what the schools used eventually because the WASI results were not coming from my end. Then I ended up getting my second choice, which was animal biology. To be honest, I wasn't enjoying the course at all. It felt like I was just going for fun. I wasn't doing well. I wasn't studying. When it's exam, I just go and write what I want to write and I leave. And I realized I was just wasting my time. So I had to I had to eventually leave. And a friend who was studying in Russia at the time told me about an agency that can help me come to Russia. I told my people, and they were nice about it. They all brought in funds to help. I have a very supportive family. I'm not the type of I'm not the type that comes from a family where only my mom is helping. Or my aunties are all in my life. My uncles, they are all like supporting me in one way or the other. So that's how I managed to leave University of Ghana at the time. I was at University of Ghana. So I left and then I came to Russia. So that's the story of me not studying medicine in Ghana. That's how I
Wow.
ended up in Russia.
Wow. Will you call that
Oh,
will you call that a blessing? Not to do what you know now and what you've experienced in Russia now and the avenues you have. Will you call that a blessing?
100% and even more. It
Wow.
really definitely is a blessing. Everything I believe everything happens for a reason. Like even now, I believe it's more because because of how things turned out for me. So I do believe things happen for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, congratulations on how far you have come amidst all that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, let's go back to your photography. I remember I was having a discussion with you. I mean, I go to free pick a lot because I mean, free images for my own stuff. And then I saw a couple of pictures of you there. Then all of a sudden, I am seeing you like on billboards, like in Nigeria, in Tanzania. I think I even saw one with Bolt Food ad of
Oh yeah.
on Instagram, and it was your face that was on it. I mean, when it comes to modeling and images and advertisements, people usually feel they have to be slim and all that before they can get billboards and stuff to be on. How did that journey start? How did you end up on billboards and advertisements and all that?
So with that in Russia, right? They like to use the Africans for photo shoots and stuff generally. It's something that's very common in Russia. But you have to be smart about it. Otherwise, they would always use you free and they will be making money out of it. So one thing about the photographers in Russia is they are very observant of your Instagram page, especially. And I was someone, I was already in photography and those things. So I knew how to edit my pictures and everything. My Instagram page was always popping, you know. So I think most of the photographers discovered my Instagram page. I don't know if they had a group and someone shared my photo there, or I really don't know how that part started. I just know I received a random message from a photographer and they invited me for a photo shoot. So they told me about the concept. It's like they said you'll be in your pajamas and all those things. I was like, okay, let me give it a try. And so when I went, I signed some forms and they told me they work with photo stock and those things. So they will sell my photo and they'll be used for advertisements and stuff. And then at the end, they also paid me something. Obviously, the pay is not as much as they will make from selling my pictures and stuff. But at the time, you're a student, you don't have any work doing. That money it could do something for me. At least it could feed me a week or something. So I like the idea. And they discovered I was actually natural in front of the photo. Because with this kind of shoot, it's not about being a model and giving sexy poses. No, it's normally you have to give expressions. They can tell you, act like you are angry, act like you just woke up, act like you just won a lottery and those things. So they noticed that I was good with those expressions. Like they came very natural. So since that time, they always kept calling me. Like that's how it started. And other photographers also discovered me. So I started getting calls from a lot of other photographers. So that's actually how that journey started. It was just a random message from a random photographer. And then that opened a lot of doors for me. Because I think other photographers discovered my pictures were being purchased. So they also wanted to make money from me. So they would contact me. And that also allowed me to increase my pricing. Because I realized, now everyone wants me, okay, this is how much I'm charging per hour. They'll be like, oh, can you reduce it? I'm like, no bargaining here then. Like that. That is how that part started. It's just generally doing photo shoots here and photographers uploading them on photo stock for sale. Yeah.
Are you thinking of uploading your own photos and making the money directly instead of going through them? I like that smile.
It wasn't just me. I told you I had housemates. I used to live with my friends. We were all photo models. And we used to do that a lot. We actually thought of, but there's a way they do it. And if they don't tell you, you will not know how to do it. It's not just about opening the app and uploading the photo. There's more to it. So we ended up not being able to do it. The only place we started uploading our photos were Pinterest, because Pinterest, so you can upload your photos. But of course, that one didn't come with any money. But yeah, that's something that came to mind. But I think at the point we were doing so much at once, so we couldn't really explore that option so much. Yeah. I remember there was a reason why we couldn't really do it, but I just don't remember what reason it was. But we tried it. We actually downloaded the app and all that, but we weren't successful with it. Now that you've mentioned it, I'll go back to it.
Yeah, please do. One thing I also like about you is that when you are doing something, you don't do it alone. You do it with other people. You want to get other people involved. And that is one thing I like about you. And I realize that you are now mentoring women who want to start their own beauty businesses and wig business in Russia. Where did you get that idea from, and how is it going?
Okay, so with the hair business, I've built a lot of trust among these young ladies in Russia, to the extent that some confide in me as this. I don't know, maybe they see me as their older sister and stuff. I get clients randomly coming into my DM, not to purchase hair, but to maybe discuss an issue they have with me and all that. And some of them even want to start their own businesses. They come, they're like, how do I start this hair business and stuff? I get that a lot because I've had this hair business for 6 years now. I have a following, I have huge client base, and I have been in contact with a lot of ladies. Some have graduated, even new ones that are now coming in and stuff. I had a lady text me and telling me I have to promise her I'm her older sister and I'll be at her graduation and all that. So I received a lot of messages from these young ladies. So the issue of people wanting to start their own business, not just in Russia but in their African countries back home, it was a bit much for me, and I felt I had to do something about it. And I'm not the type that sees other ladies as competitors. I feel like everyone deserves to win. You get, so even with other people with businesses in Russia, you randomly find me advertising their page for them, or people selling beauty products. Someone will say, "Is she crazy? You want to lose your clients to other?" I feel like what I sell is valuable. Yeah, if you go, you come back.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing those kind of stuff, I think, what if I lose to those people or stuff? Giving people this mentorship. I'm not here thinking, what if I give her this mentorship and she becomes a better entrepreneur than me? Then it's a plus for me. I would feel blessed. I mean, I'm part of someone's success story, right? So I actually just put it each that if you want to start a hair business or a beauty business in Russia or anywhere, just hit me up. And the number of messages I got. Someone said, "Are you reading my mind? Hey, I've been thinking of this. You are God sent. How did you know? Oh my God, I've been wanting this for so long. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." At the end of the day, I had to add so many people to the group. So I felt like initially the plan was to organize a Zoom call and maybe talk with them about everything. But I realized that there are a lot, and everyone has personal needs. Everyone has what they want to do. Not everyone wants to sell hair. Maybe someone wants to even sell clothes and they just want to know how to start. They need a guidance on how did you start it? How are you still consistent with it? How this, how that. So in the group, I told them I'll be having one-on-one calls with them. Everyone, I call you, you give me the time you're available. If I'm available, we do a one-on-one call. The call lasts about an hour to 2 hours. We discuss everything. You're allowed to ask every question you want to ask me. And then I'm going to share so much with you, how I started how certain tricks on how to maintain a business in Russia and outside generally. So this is what I've been doing lately. Aside selling my hair and stuff, I'm trying to mentor young ladies who want to start their own business. At the end of the day, it's a win-win for all of us, because why not?
Yeah. Thank you so much for being a big sister to many young women. Yeah, thank you. I feel like I am talking to a superwoman because you're going to talk about your travel business. I know you travel a lot. You travel a lot, and you like chilling. So you have your own travel company called Kiki Travels, right? I want to.
Yeah.
This one is. It may not even be for my viewers. This is a personal thing I am interested in. Do you just get up and say, "I'm going to this place to enjoy," or you go and enjoy when you have some form of engagement there?
Okay, so let me start with me being in Russia. When I was in Russia, while in Russia studying, I tried to visit a lot of cities, and I tried to visit cities that people don't go to or people don't hear about. So let's say everyone is going to Moscow, everyone is going to St. Petersburg. You won't find me in those cities. You'd find me in the cities that people don't even know exist. Yeah. And this is me on my PC looking for interesting places there. Before I go, I'm planning, okay, so this is beautiful. Okay, I'll go here, I'll go here. But I had a friend who also loved travel. So when it's time, I just call her, "Are you up for it?" She's like, "Yeah, let's go, let's go." So in Russia, I'll say my trips were mainly for vacation, relaxation, chilling, and those things. But outside Russia, any other country I have visited has been like I have been there for a reason. Like I have an engagement there, I have something doing there, so I have to be there. Even so, I don't just go and do what I have to do and leave. I still turn it into a mini trip. I make sure I visit nice places as I should. If I want to create content for my travel page, I create it and all. So it's like killing two birds with one stone. Because why will I visit beautiful Tanzania and not visit places? Because I'm here to do something. Why will I visit Kenya and just go and do what I have to do and leave? Why?
Yeah.
So with the trees, it's mostly because I have something doing there. But when I was in Russia, the places I was visiting was mainly for vacation and those things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you were saying when I was in Russia, you are still in Russia.
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's talk about the immigration. There are certain places that if you are holding a Ghanaian passport, you can't just get in. So you were in Tanzania and then Kenya. How was the process like? The immigration process?
Before here, can I chip something in? You said I'm in Russia. Like I've been saying when I was in Russia, I'm in Russia. The thing is, I'm not really in Russia because I'm officially done. I've graduated school and all, but I came back to Russia just for about a month for business. I had to bring in my hair for my ladies who are graduating, and so I'll say my hair business brought me back to Russia. And of course, I'll visit places. I'm going to chill. So watch out.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for the pictures.
Watch out. Okay, so back to your question. Can you please repeat it? Can you please repeat your question about the immigration?
Yes, you've been to Kenya and Tanzania. How was the immigration process like? I know that there are several places you can't just visit with your Ghanaian passport. You need visa. How was the process like?
Oh, it was very smooth because these countries are visa free for Ghanaians. Mostly now, I'm trying to explore only visa free countries. I don't have the time to go and chase visa. And normally with these countries where you require visa, they look in your passport. If you have any travel experience, it's easy for you to go.
Yeah.
So my plan is to visit as many visa-free countries as I can, so that by the time I'm ready to apply for these other visa countries, they open it like, oh, this lady has been to these countries. Oh, and no problems. Okay, she travels. Okay, then let's give her the visa. You get. So these countries have not had any issues with the immigration because you just get there, they look at your passport, they know Ghanaians are allowed in. You have a number of maybe 90 days visa free. After 90 days, you might have to apply. So they stamp it for you and you're good to go. They just ask you a few questions. What are you here for? Do you have where to stay? Basic questions. So yeah, basically that.
Yeah. Your travel company, if I want to also travel and explore, do you have any packages that, of course, will keep down the cost for me because the economy hard?
Uh, so initially, I was in partnership with a friend who was helping me book flights and give flights at a cheap cost. But we had a little falling out, so I'm no longer with that person. Like I'm no longer working with that person again. But I'm still always available because I still have people coming to me. Can you help me book a flight? Can you help me reserve a place? Because they know I'm good with those things. So I'm always available if anyone wants me to help them. Or even I've been creating itinerary for people for their trips, especially those in Russia. Like you want to go on a trip and you don't know the place, you don't know places to visit. I'll just help you with your itinerary. I will give you a list of restaurants you can visit with their locations and what they do there. I'll give you a list of places you can go for sightseeing, places you can go for maybe swimming. I will help you with your reservations, both hotel and flights. So yeah, basically those are the things. I'm not giving out visas yet, but I'm hoping to get there soon. And with the flights, I'm still working on getting another person to work with so that I can help book people's flights at cheaper costs for them. Yeah. But if you come to me, you want a flight, I'll just advise you to book your flight way ahead of your trip. Because normally, if you wait till maybe a week or two before your trip, you're going to find the flight cost at a very ridiculous price. Yeah. So let's say you have a trip like next month you should already be booking your flight. Yes. Even the accommodation too. Yes.
Wow. Wow. So before I end this conversation, we will have our own back conversation.
Oh. So soon. Oh.
Yeah, I know. Before I end it, I want to ask, where are you taking me this year? I mean, I'm not paying, but you are taking me.
I like that I'm not paying, but I wish I could tell that before. Oh, let's see. I lucky want to go back to Kenya. That country shocked me. Ooh.
Wow.
I didn't expect it. I don't know how I pictured Kenya, but when I entered the country, I was like, am I in Europe or I'm in Africa?
Wow.
And I was Kenya straight from Tanzania, and I knew I'll be going to Ghana soon. So in Tanzania was hot, so I was wearing like light clothes and stuff. I got to Kenya and everyone was in a jacket. Everyone was in sneakers. Everyone was dressed like warm clothes. I'm like, what's going on? I went out and I understood at once. This is Europe in Africa.
Yeah.
Country is beautiful. It is very beautiful. So I'm definitely taking you there because you don't even need a visa to go. And the flights are very affordable. So get ready. Let's go to Kenya.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We should really explore our African countries. They are very beautiful. African countries are very, very, very beautiful. Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. Rwanda is like the neatest country. It's a very beautiful country. Rwanda, even Togo, Burkina Faso, all those countries are very, very, very beautiful. And so you've explored African countries, South Africa, Cape Town. South Africa is so aside even though they have these crime issues and stuff, South Africa is very, very, very beautiful. Yeah. So I think we should explore African countries before we extend to the other countries. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really important message. And thank you for ending on that note. We will discuss when we will go to Kenya later on, but thank you so much for making it.
Thank you so much. I'm so sad we are ending already, but thank you. I hope I've been informative enough, and I've helped a lot of people with my information. Yeah,
you have. Thank you. I'll probably bring you back.
Yes, I can't wait.
All right, Kiki. Bye. Have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, and click the notification bell to be notified of our next video. Until then, please make sure you have at least one good conversation this week.